Have you ever wondered what secrets lie buried beneath the sands of Egypt? What ancient mysteries still whisper from the dark corridors of forgotten tombs? Today we're traveling back more than 3,000 years to uncover one of the most astonishing discoveries in the history of archaeology, the tomb of the boy king, Tutankhamun. And trust me, this story is stranger, spookier, and more fascinating than anything Hollywood could dream up. Most people know Tutankhamun by his nickname, King Tut, but behind that iconic golden mask was a young pharaoh with a short, tragic, and still mysterious life. Born around 1341 BCE, Tutankhamun became pharaoh at the age of 9. 9! Think about what you were doing at 9 years old. Probably not ruling one of the greatest civilizations on Earth. His reign lasted only a decade. He died when he was just around 18 or 19. And to this day, historians are debating what caused his sudden death. Illness, genetic disorders, an accident, or murder? But those questions only set the stage, because the biggest mystery about Tut wasn't how he lived, it was what happened to him after he died. Tutankhamun was buried in the Valley of the Kings, a royal cemetery tucked deep into the cliffs of Luxor, but unlike the grand resting places of pharaohs like Ramses or Seti, Tut's tomb is tiny, almost modest. Why? Because by the time of his death, Egypt was in political chaos. His powerful successor, Horemheb, tried to erase Tut's legacy, literally chiseling his name out of monuments. Over time, floods, shifting sands, and new tomb construction buried Tut's tomb so well that it vanished from history for nearly 3,300 years. It was so hidden, in fact, that several archaeologists walked right over it without knowing it was there. Imagine being that close to the greatest discovery of your life, and never realizing it. Enter Howard Carter, a British archaeologist who was stubborn, determined, and absolutely convinced that somewhere in the valley lay an undiscovered royal tomb. By 1922, he had spent years digging with almost nothing to show for it. His financial backer, Lord Carnarvon, was losing patience. Carter begged for one final season, and got it. On November 4, 1922, a young water boy stumbled upon a stone step. Carter's team dug deeper. More steps, then a doorway, seals, hieroglyphs, and one name that made Carter's heart nearly stop. Tutankhamun. Carter wrote in his diary, "At last, I have made a wonderful discovery." But even he didn't know how wonderful. On November 26, Carter made a tiny hole in the sealed doorway. He held up a flickering candle, and Lord Carnarvon asked the most famous question in archaeology. "Can you see anything?" Carter replied with a trembling voice. "Yes, wonderful things." Inside the antechamber lay a treasure tsunami. Golden beds, statues, chests, jewelry, weapons, games, and objects so well preserved they looked brand new. But the best was yet to come. Beyond another sealed door was the burial chamber, containing a massive, gilded shrine. Inside that shrine were more nested shrines, then a stone sarcophagus, then 3 coffins, and finally, the majestic golden mask of Tutankhamun. The world went insane. Tut mania swept across continents. His image appeared in newspapers, films, artwork, and museums. Tutankhamun, once forgotten, became the most famous pharaoh of all time. But with great fame came great fear. Soon after the tomb's opening, strange events began to unfold. Lord Carnarvon, the man who funded the excavation, died suddenly from an infected mosquito bite. Just months after the tomb was opened, newspapers exploded with headlines about the curse of the pharaohs. Some claimed the lights in Cairo flickered and went out the moment he died. Others said Carnarvon's dog let out a howl and collapsed dead at the same time, thousands of miles away in England. Whether coincidence, fabrication, or something more sinister, the legend grew. Over the years, several people connected to the excavation died early or unexpectedly. Not Carter though, he lived to age 64. Scholars today believe the curse is mostly myth, but one thing's for sure. Tutankhamun's tomb captured the world's imagination like nothing discovered before or since. Fast forward to the 21st century, the tomb of King Tut still holds secrets. Recently, radar scans hinted at hidden chambers beyond the walls of Tut's burial room. Some experts believe these might contain untouched rooms, maybe even the lost tomb of Queen Nefertiti. Others argue the scans were misinterpreted. But here's where it gets interesting. Tutankhamun's tomb was clearly rushed. Some walls were plastered in a hurry. The burial chamber is unusually small, and some of the artifacts inside were repurposed, made originally for someone else. Was Tut's death so sudden that his tomb wasn't ready? Or was he buried in someone else's tomb? Egyptologists debate fiercely, and the mystery remains unsolved. Beyond the golden mask and glittering treasures, King Tut's tomb offered something even more valuable, a snapshot of life in ancient Egypt. From the ceremonial chariots to the board games, from jars of wine to preserved lotus flowers, every object told a story. For the first time, archaeologists could see what a pharaoh took with him into the afterlife. Not grand myths, real, tangible history. In a way, Tutankhamun became Egypt's time capsule. So who was King Tut? A minor pharaoh, a political pawn, or a young king whose death and rediscovery shaped the world? His life was short, his reign was small, but his tomb changed everything. And as long as there are mysteries buried beneath the sands of Egypt, the story of King Tut is far from over. Thanks for joining me on this adventure. If you enjoyed exploring the mystery behind Tutankhamun's tomb, hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives into ancient legends, and tell me in the comments, what mystery should we investigate next?